In this session, we try to understand what are conditional statements. So far, we're very much clear of working with data, like how you declare the data and then how you perform arithmetic operations on the data, and then how you use different kinds of operators, especially relational operators and logical operators, right? So, what is conditional statements? So, in many situations, we need to take a decision based on that we want to perform a task. So in that situations, you have to use conditional statements. So based on a condition, you want to perform a particular task or you want to execute a set of statements. So that is what you basically call as conditional statements. So Java supports if-else statement, which is called as a conditional statement. So if you look at the syntax of if-else, so if followed by condition, then you have a set of statements, else you have a set of statements. So how basically this will work? If the given condition, the condition always will be given within the parenthesis. So when I say condition, the condition should be evaluated to true. So means you might write a single condition here or a single constraint or multiple constraints which are combined with logical operators. So suppose example, here I want to say if number 1 is greater than number 2, I want to say number 1 is bigger. Or I want to take more constraints into consideration, then you have to use logical AND or logical OR. For example, I'll say, hey, if distance is greater than 10 and time is less than 5, I want to take a call. So in this case, we use more than one expression to combine logical operators. So that is what we have seen in our previous example. So the condition could be a single constraint or multiple constraints, but ultimately should be evaluated to either true or false. So if the condition is evaluated to true, then the set of statements will be executed. Or if the condition is evaluated to false, then the else block will be executed. So the if else statement is also called as if block and else block. The block is nothing but a group of statements which are referred within the curly braces. So you have if block and you have else block. If the given condition is true, if block gets executed. If the given condition is false, else block gets executed. So now let us see programmatically how the basic if-else statement works.
Hey, thanks for watching our content so far. If you're new to Training Mark, we're the fastest growing technology training company and create content to help freshers like you to master the disruptive technologies like full stack development, AML, cloud, DevOps, etc. If you like the content so far, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon not to miss any new content from us. Like and share this video with all your friends. Let's build your career and the community together.
To demonstrate the if-else statement, so select a new Java class and then I'm writing this here is if-else statement, right? So now here, let me select main and now I'll say if-else statement, which is also called as conditional statement in Java. So now let us first see what is the syntax of if else. So if of condition, then you have set of statements which are written within the curly braces. Then you have else which are written in curly braces. So you might see different kinds of syntaxes. Basically in some references you might see like this and in some references you might see like this. So but according to the coding standards, so every block should be opened within the same line. So we open it here itself, and else also we'll write along with if close. So now we need to write it something like this. Or if you get confused, you want to write else in within the new block, and this is also appropriate for writing. So this if of this condition, the condition is evaluated to true, then this block gets executed, or if the condition is false, this block gets executed, right? So now here I'll just call this as if block, and then this is called else block, right? So now to demonstrate this, so what I do, so let me take in number 1 and I'll take two numbers, a very simple example that to demonstrate if else. So I'll just define number 1 is some value, number 2 is equal to some value. So then I'll say if the number 1 is greater than number 2. So then I can say S out number 1 is bigger. Okay, so now this number 1, in order to say the value, so I'll just use this as something like this, number 1 plus is bigger. So because the number 1 value I want to print, else I'll say S out number 2 is bigger. Okay, so now in this case, because we are taking the value directly, right, so in this I can say that number 2 is bigger, so it always will print this, because number 1 and then greater than number 2 is going to be false. So now let me run this to see how it will work. Now it will say 2000 is bigger. Now instead of taking these numbers directly, so what I do, I just want to take it from the input. So let me write a scanner, C is equal to new scanner of system.in. Now instead of this number, I'll just say sc.nextInt, and then this one, instead of this, I'll say sc.nextInt. So now before this, I'll write an S out statement just to say enter number 1, and then here I'll say S out enter number 2, right? So now let me rerun this program. So it will ask me to enter the number 1. Now I'll enter some value, then enter number 2, I'll enter some value. Now it says that number 2 is bigger. So now every time I run this, so it will ask you for enter number 1 and then number 2, then it says whatever the number is bigger, it is going to print it like this. This is a very simple if else statement. Now if you want to combine more than one expression, so you can do that by using logical AND or logical OR, depending upon what you want to consider.